We have a voicemail number. That number is 2192-DAVID-P. You can call the voicemail number anytime you want. And here's a really good question about all of these so-called voter integrity measures that Republicans have been and want to continue passing. Take a listen to this.
Hey, David, these voter suppression tactics, it's kind of hard to find the statistical analysis on their effect. Could you share what percentage do they estimate that these tactics prevent illegal voting or versions of that, and what percentage of voters who want to vote are unable to vote because they've been purged from a voter roll or other suppression tactic where they said they were unable to vote? I'm just assuming that they estimate that based on polls or something else.
Yeah, so this is a good question, which is all this stuff Republicans do, legally speaking, in order to prevent illegal voting. How much illegal voting does it actually prevent versus how many legal voters end up being disenfranchised, which is really the design of it. There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that in-person voter fraud is a materially significant issue. Now, it's important to say materially significant because Republicans will hear that and they'll write in and they'll say, what about Jim Bob who voted twice? Or what about Bobby Sue who figured out how to vote under her cousin's name or whatever? The question is, in a country of 331 million people, there are examples of everything. Is there any evidence that all of these in-person types of voter fraud are materially significant to election results? And the answer is no. On the other hand, we know of tons of people who were purged from voter rolls for so-called inactivity, who were denied the ability to vote because of other clerical issues that were caused by these guidelines and restrictions put in place by Republicans. There are people who opted just not to even go and vote because Republicans disproportionately shut down voting booths and curtail voting hours in disproportionately Democratic areas. So the Brennan Center for Justice has a lot of great data on this. And the most important takeaway is the voter suppression tactics from Republicans, because that's what they are, which they claim to be in the spirit of preventing illegal votes. They do way more to interfere with people legally voting than they do to curb what is almost insignificant, almost non-existent and statistically insignificant in-person voter fraud. The real way that you affect elections is by suppressing the vote at the big picture level. You don't flip an election by going with your friends to multiple polling places and claiming to be different people. You don't go and round up the people who are juniors and say, even though your dad's senior is dead, go and vote for yourself and for your dad. No, that's not how you steal an election. Just doesn't happen. And the question is well asked and really gets to the heart of that. We have a great bonus show for you today. Teenagers are helping each other get COVID shots when their parents are anti-vax. Fascinating that this is what's going on. The defiant action of teenagers is to get themselves vaccinated even when their parents don't want them to. Unbelievable. Trials to suck carbon dioxide from the air are going to start across the United Kingdom. And the Texas Senate has approved a bill limiting how race and racism can be taught in public school classrooms. All of those stories and more on today's bonus show. I would love it if you joined us on the bonus show. Pat will be joining me. Why don't you join me as well? You can get instant access by signing up at joinpakman.com.